If you've looked into making money online, you've probably seen two of the most popular options, and that's dropshipping and selling digital products. Both promise freedom, flexibility, and the ability to earn online. But here's the real question. Which one is actually worth your time? In this video, I'm going to break it down properly, the costs, the effort, the risk, and the realistic income potential, so you can decide what actually makes sense for you. So before comparing, let's simplify each model. So with dropshipping, you sell physical products online, but you don't hold inventory. You use a supplier to ship products to customers. So essentially you make money by buying low and selling higher. When people purchase off your dropshipping website, the supplier will then send that product. And for digital products, you create something once and then you sell it multiple times. So this can be templates or guides or ebooks or printables. And with this stuff, you actually own it. And you make money by creating value only once and then scaling it. So one is product-based, the other is creation-based. But if we talk about money, this is where things start to differ, because both have very different startup costs. So if we look at dropshipping and the startup costs there, you'd likely have to get a Shopify subscription. You have to spend probably quite a bit of money on ads. You might have to do some product testing, and there are apps and tools you'd likely use for promotion. But this does mean you're probably spending, $100 to $500 before you even see results. Digital products in terms of costs, they're a bit different, because if you make something on Canva, for example, the subscription to that is free, at least for the free version. And you do have platform fees, so for example on Etsy or Gumroad, they do charge a percentage of your sale, but you don't have to have all the other upfront costs that dropshipping does, which means you can realistically start with $0 to $50. So if you're starting with very little money, then digital products are way easier to get into. But for both, how do you actually make sales? Well, with dropshipping, you rely heavily on ads, trends, or product demand. So it's often, fast-moving, competitive, and ad-driven. With digital products, you rely more on search traffic, content, and long-term discovery. And you'll likely be using a platform like Etsy, Pinterest, YouTube or TikTok for promotion. So dropshipping is often faster to test, and digital products are slower, but digital products tend to also be more stable. If we take a look at the risk and difficulty of both, so the risks on dropshipping is that you can lose a lot of money on ads. Refunds could be a problem also, and if you get bad suppliers, then you'll likely be offering a lot of refunds. There's also shipping issues and very saturated products. In terms of risks for digital products, you might see slow initial sales. You might need to learn certain basic skills in order to create the products in the first place and actually make them useful, because creating something that people want is going to be essential here. So with dropshipping, you do risk a fair bit of money, but with digital products, you risk time. If we take a look at profit margins, this is where things get interesting. And that's because with dropshipping, you do tend to see lower margins because you're essentially just buying for less, selling for more. But the costs must also cover ads and shipping. So the profit can really vary heavily. Obviously, if something does take off, you can see a lot of money from dropshipping. But with digital products, there's very high margins. And that's because you're not providing money for each individual ship. Because once you've created it, it's essentially pure profit and you just need to focus on marketing. And this is why a lot of people tend to eventually move from dropshipping into digital products. But let's take a look at scalability and long-term potential. So with dropshipping, it can scale really quickly, but it can be really unstable at the same time because sales can come in and drop off. Fortunately though, as you're not keeping stock, it's not like you have to pay for massive warehouse fees like you would do if you were selling something on Amazon. So you are shielded from that. But also it does depend on trends. Sometimes your dropshipping store can work depending on what's trending at the minute. So it can be hit and miss. With digital products, the growth can be slower, but it can compound over time. For example, if you have a listing on Etsy that really gets a lot of traffic, Etsy will then carry on promoting that particular listing and bring you more traffic to that page, which means you can just build up sales, and which then turns it very passive. So both can grow over time, and again, they're less expensive than other business ideas. But which one should you choose if you're trying to make a decision? Well, it depends on your situation. Choose dropshipping if you have money to test on ads, or you enjoy fast-paced environments, you're comfortable with a bit of risk, or you spotted a gap in the market for products. Choose digital products if you want super low risk, you're looking to build long-term income, and you're happy with learning some simple skills and some design skills. It's not really a perfect option, it's just what fits you best. But both of them are relatively low risk in comparison to a lot of other businesses. So you do have some level of risk averseness there, but the real real risk-free option, it would be digital products. So if you are low on funds, I would recommend going for that. But let me know which one you're leaning towards and let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.